Your Island, live and local, with your host, Tom Schiliro, on 103.9 LI News Radio.
Now, back by popular demand, I hear so many times, where is Lisa? Lisa Navarra. We haven't seen her or hear her on the program here, and we're able to get it. Lisa's got a very, very busy schedule. Lisa Navarra is the founder and CEO of Child Behavior Consulting, doing just so much out there on the Long Island community and even in the state, holding some public hearings. We had the big one back, I think it was November. Lisa really very much involved, one of Long Island's leading citizens. Always great to have Lisa Navarra on the program. Lisa Navarra, my friend, how are you?
I'm doing great. After an introduction like that, how can I be nothing but ecstatic to be here at this very moment? Thanks for having me again, Tom.
And I'm glad you're on, but kind of a sad note, July 17th, Franklin Township school bus incident. And I know you've been an advisor among a lot of what you do, advisor to one of to the school bus companies here on Long Island, and how important it is that we keep our children safe. But it was not a good day for the Franklin Township. There was a young child. She was actually killed as a result of a lot of reasons. Those of us who are not as involved as you are would say, well, there was monitoring, there was neglect, there was negligence, and of course she was charged criminally, the school bus monitor. But we had a young child that was killed on a school bus as a result of what a lot of people would say neglect. Now, again, a lot of what you get involved in is for the education of people who are in custody of children, particularly those children with special needs. Give us the lowdown. What took place on that day?
Yes, you're absolutely right. It's absolutely tragic and heartbreaking. Essentially, there was a little girl who was 6 years old with a very rare condition called Emmanuel syndrome, and she was what we call nonverbal, so she didn't have verbal skills, and so she wasn't able to use words the way that neurotypical people understand and as the way we communicate. And so what happened was there was bumps in the road. And with those bumps, the harness that she was in to keep her in her wheelchair properly was slipping. And it slipped so many times and to the extent where it suffocated her.
Now, when you advise these bus companies, do they ask you for parameters? Are there legal obligations? Do the state have laws, particularly when it comes to special needs children? Obviously, there was neglect here. No one should be having earpods in. Nobody should be texting, particularly when you're dealing with children who need help, children that have to be specifically watched more than maybe a child that doesn't have any sort of special needs qualifications or anything like that. This is a horrible tragedy. What do you tell the bus companies when it comes to this? You know, we're not that far away from the start of school again, Lisa.
Absolutely. Well, this child was going to summer school, so some kids go to school year-round. And there are New York State laws and regulations that are put into place. And, there are safety measures that are taken, and that's why buses have the cameras. And when working with these companies, they're sharing with me, we had to let somebody go today because they were not conducting themselves in a way that was in the best interest of our riders. And so letting go of people who are not doing what they should be doing to protect these children is not uncommon. But what is tragic here is that this little girl was put in this terrible situation. But furthermore, Tom, I have to tell you something in a really positive light. And that is, bus companies now are really, really valuing the time and effort and the need that needs to take place to break down the silos between schools and the bus companies. So there's a big movement right now that I'm involved in providing program development, consultation, and team management on student management. Meaning, how do we inform the drivers and driver assistants to be proactive when they are having challenging situations? And in this case, with behavior on the bus, but also in this case, to really, really emphasize how important active supervision is to the safety and welfare of the students on the bus.
But, again, when we think of a monitor like this, I mean, the only thing you could say is there was no training. There was no even an interview process or even rules and policies and regulations. Shouldn't it be as simple as no cell phones, no texting, no AirPods, and turn around and keep your eyes on the kids all the time? Can it be as simple as that?
Well, it is. It absolutely is. There are no cell phones to be used on the bus. Just like there's no eating. Everybody knows there's no eating on the bus, right? Same thing. You're not supposed to be using your cell phone. You're supposed to have ear pods in your ears. It's like anything else. If people choose not to listen, they're going to test the boundaries. She did, and she failed miserably at it.
Yeah. I mean, when one thinks about what a tragedy, a poor little girl with the special needs and expects for a society or expects for the establishment or the structure to take care of her as her parents did, so on, and for something like this to happen, and then the responsibility on the bus companies, and then of course you coming into the scene and trying to guide them along in the right direction. Is there any sort of model that's found, or is it something that you've come up with in your years of research and your years of expertise to try to make sure that these tragedies, and as simple as this one was, just pure neglect, but to put something out there where parents of these kids can feel confident, because I know if I was a parent and in that circumstance, I would want to know every I was dotted and T was crossed to make sure my child was safe. Lisa?
Yes, well, absolutely. Well, actually, I'm working right now in developing a pilot program to break down the silos between bus companies and schools, so that way we have more of an approach of intervention when it comes to student management. But what that really entails is the adults on the bus being able to monitor themselves to really, it all comes to, I think life comes down to this, Tom, knowing that whatever role we are in, we make a difference and we are important. Wasn't that driver assistant absolutely important at that moment in her job, in her role? Of course. So part of any training is providing that inspiration where people really realize I've got a job to do and I'm important. So that's why I infuse in all of my trainings for these companies that you're important. And we need to also not only be self-aware of what we're doing, but we need to be aware as a team, as like the driver. I wonder if the driver knew that she was on her phone, if she even said anything. It's about communicating and feeling comfortable to communicate with one another, to say, hey, listen, go check on her. Make sure everything is okay. So a lot of the training, so to avoid neglect, is knowing you're important, knowing certain interventions, and good communication between teams in the bus.
Yeah, and I think that's, something that certainly has to be adhered to, and a lot of it has to do with parents. Are the bus companies cognizant of legal obligations? Is that one of the reasons why child behavior consulting, Lisa Navarra, would be called into bus companies in which to put on programs, put on seminars, enlighten us to the best way in which we can deal with what is essentially a policy issue or essentially a safety issue, but at the same time, they have to be conforming to legal obligations. What do you know in that regard?
Well, I think that they realize that there's a need out there. And just like education, schools have really heightened their awareness of certain needs that students have, even post-pandemic. Same thing with the bus companies. There is a need, and they didn't even realize, I didn't even realize you were out there, or somebody was out there, providing student management services in a way that really are applicable and effective for us to use on the bus. So they weren't even aware of what's available to them until now. So I think it was a combination of things, but I have to honestly say the individuals that I work with they're inspiring to me. Because yes, you know what? Everything in life seems to be some sort of form of business. But I have to say, they really care. They care about their employees. They care about the children that they transport. And that is just enlightening, because if you, from an outside in, and you're just looking like, how can this be? Why didn't she do her job? Was there ever any training? I could tell you honestly, I am working with very inspired leaders who want the right things for their employees and those they transport for the right reasons.
Yeah. And let's hope that we don't see another tragedy like this again. And congratulations on the good work that you're doing, so that the awareness is certainly out there. Lisa, any Facebook pages or websites that people can go to learn more about what you do?
Absolutely. childbehaviorconsulting.com. You will find all of my social media there. You can just even search either Lisa Navarra EDU or Child Behavior Consulting, and you'll find a lot of information, inspiration, and resources. So contact us if you want some support. We're here for you.
Thank you so much. Once again, it's Lisa Navarra, Child Behavior Consulting. Lisa, thank you so much. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk again.
Thank you so much, Tom. Take care. Bye-bye.